assassination of Martin Luther King, specifically in regards to the impact it had on the nation. So it's April 4th, 1968 in Memphis, Tennessee. It's been a long day for Martin Luther King and his colleagues. Ready to unravel from the stresses of the day, they change for dinner. The time is 6 o'clock p.m. On their way out to the car, a single gunshot is heard, echoing through the night as the leader of the Civil Rights Movement and one of the greatest Americans in history breathes his final breath. News stations and radio broadcasts get a hold of the information immediately, and soon the entire nation is reeling over his death. Mourning periods sprang up all around the country. Schools were canceled, flags were flown half-staffed, even sporting events abruptly halted the start of their games. The most ironic part, however, was that while many people adored King and his beliefs, many others disliked him. Many, including black citizens, believed he was too radical or not radical enough. So why, after his death, was King the most popular and the most well-liked he had ever been? Why did it take a bullet to awaken the nation to the inequality within its walls? Let's start from the beginning. Martin Luther King started out as a minister in Alabama, one of the deepest segregated states in the nation. In 1955, King was asked to be the spokesman for the Montgomery bus boycott, which catapulted him into the widely recognized leader of the Civil Rights Movement. He was known for his public speaking skills and was well respected because of his status as a minister. In other words, he was the perfect man to represent the Civil Rights Movement. In the preceding years, King would organize and run marches throughout the nation, fighting to give African Americans the right to vote, eventually leading to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. King's popularity continued to grow, but so did the animosity towards him, even among the African American population. One woman in particular blamed King for all of her troubles. Her name was Izola Curry. After losing job after job and her life continued in a downward spiral, Curry set off to find King, stabbing him with a letter opener repeatedly while at a book signing. King was rushed to the hospital and was in such a precarious state that, should he sneeze, he would die. Thankfully, he did not sneeze. As you can see, King was not the most liked man in the country, as bomb threats and communist rumors became his constant shadow. King was even sent to jail on numerous occasions, from which he wrote his famous letter from Birmingham jail. This letter not only showed King's proficiency, but also his fortitude. He was jailed multiple times, as seen in this Sumter County jail document, yet he never gave up. Instead, he shared his views on equality, whether it was on pen and paper while sitting in a jail, or whether it was on national television in Washington, D.C. And so, on that fateful day in April in 1968, the nation was robbed of one of its greatest advocates. The most unfortunate part? The nation realized that it had taken him for granted for so many years, but it was too late. Here are President Johnson's remarks on the assassination. America is shocked and saddened by the brutal slaying tonight of Dr. Martin Luther King. I know that every American of goodwill joins me in mourning the death of this outstanding leader, and in praying for peace and understanding throughout this land. We can achieve nothing by lawlessness and divisiveness among the American people. It is only joining together and only by working together that we can continue to move toward equality and fulfillment for all of our people. I hope that all Americans tonight will search their hearts as they ponder this most tragic incident. Obviously, we see that King's influence across the country was so vast that it was necessary for a statement to be made by the president regarding his death. The most important part, however, is that King's influence would live longer than he did. It's still alive today, decades after his death, and it's going to be alive for decades to come. In the beginning, several very important questions were asked that we weren't able to answer. Now we can. Why was King the most popular after his death? Because the nation realized what it had lost. King essentially became a martyr, not only for equal rights for African Americans, but for all people. King's assassination immortalized him, allowing him to be a catalyst and figurehead for change without his eloquent words and beautiful penmanship. Right after his death, the Civil Rights Act of 1968 was passed, prohibiting discrimination based on gender and race in the housing market. If King hadn't been assassinated, would this have passed so quickly? Honestly, I don't think so. Why did it take a bullet to awaken the nation? Because sometimes we just don't see someone's worth until they're gone. And now for the biggest underlying question. What impact did MLK's assassination have on the nation? Honestly, we still only know part of this question. with memorial statues and even a national holiday dedicated to Martin Luther King, I'd say his impact is unquestionable. Even today, we are still fighting inequalities, all in an effort to reach King's ideal dream. We'll get there. Someday.